Next news. Breaking news.
Right now, as you're watching this, the streets of Havana are on fire. Massive protests have erupted across communist Cuba as millions suffer through crushing blackouts and the total collapse of their power grid. But here's what the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. Cuban citizens are spray painting one name on their walls as they cry out for help: Donald Trump. The communist regime that has terrorized its people for over 6 decades may be taking its final breath. President Trump just dropped a bombshell saying Cuba is, quote, in the last moments of life. Is America about to witness the liberation of Cuba? Well, think about what this means for every single American watching right now. For decades, a hostile communist dictatorship has sat just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. A launch pad for Soviet missiles during the Cold War, a haven for spies, and a symbol of everything America stands against. The Cuban people have been imprisoned on their own island, starving, suffering with no electricity, no food, and no hope until now. What happens in Cuba doesn't stay in Cuba. A free Cuba means an end to one of the last communist strongholds in the Western Hemisphere. It means stability in our region, reduced migration pressure on our borders, and a massive victory for freedom-loving people everywhere. This is personal for millions of Cuban Americans who fled the Castro regime and have been praying for this moment their entire lives. Secretary of State Marco Rubio himself said he's the son of Cuban immigrants. He's now positioned to help deliver on that dream. The dominoes are falling, folks. Iran is being dealt with, and now Cuba is next. And you know, watching people fight for freedom and hope in Cuba, it reminds me just how precious our health and vitality really are, and how we can't take either for granted. And speaking of taking of control, let me tell you about something that transformed my family's health. My wife suffered for years with chronic pain, endless treatments that failed, watching her struggle daily. And then we discovered red light therapy and everything changed. Her pain vanished, anxiety lifted. She's sleeping soundly with incredible energy again. My own recovery and vitality better than guys half my age. Now, this isn't just hope. It's NASA-backed science, FDA-cleared technology with studies showing rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, cellular repair for thyroid issues. Clinical trials prove it's 70 times more effective than supplements alone. Now, the panels that are provided at myredlight.com deliver the 9 most proven wavelengths with the highest irradiance, backed by a 3-year warranty. So ditch those clinic sessions that cost you $150 a pop, $50,000 long term. American Heart Month special at myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for 25% off individual items, or NNN30 for 30% off of the bundles. Just like the Cubans are fighting for their freedom, we can take control of our health. Now back to this incredible story that's now unfolding in Cuba. This is what makes it even more incredible. While the corporate media literally ignores what's happening on the ground, we've got the receipts. Cuban protesters are not just demanding change, they're literally writing Trump's name on the buildings across Havana. Congressman Carlos Jimenez, a Cuban American himself, shared images of graffiti reading "Viva Trump." You see it there at the bottom of the screen. Down with dictatorship. Senator Lindsey Graham went on television wearing a Free Cuba hat, declaring, quote, the liberation of Cuba is upon us. And I'm going to show you exactly what is happening that you will not see anywhere else. This is the post from Representative Carlos Jimenez. It is historic. Long live President Trump. Down with dictatorship. Free Cuba now. Look at some of these images. Viva Trump. Fuego con la dictadura. Patria vida. Yes, and there are reports of ongoing protests, infrastructure collapse, setting the stage for even more dramatic scenes unfolding. Jim Ferguson reports shockwaves in Havana. The Trump administration has announced the Cuban government may be on the verge of collapse as pressure mounts on the communist regime. The officials say the situation in Cuba is rapidly deteriorating and growing instability threatening the regime.
President Trump telling Fox News that he believes Cuba, the Cuban regime, is going to fall, quote, sometime soon. He also says there are diplomatic talks ongoing now and that they are going to continue, spearheaded by Secretary of State Marco Rubio over the coming days and weeks. We will obviously be following that very closely. Brett.
Okay, Jillian Turner, live at the State Department. Jillian, thank you. As we told you at the top of the show, President Trump is
So the last stages of dictatorship in Cuba. Street protests aren't just about basic needs anymore. They're becoming directly political with pro-American messages. Trump's big statement on Cuba, it's in its last moment. Watch.
I've been hearing as a little boy, I'd be hearing about Cuba. Cuba's a disaster. But I've been hearing so much about Cuba. But Cuba's in its last moments of life. As it was, it'll have a great new life, but it's in its last moments of life the way it is. And but our focus right now is on Iran, and we'll do that. I would say, what will you do? Take about 2 days off, Marco? No, he won't. Maybe an hour. He'll take 1 hour off, and then he'll finish up a deal on Cuba. That'll be an easy one, but it'll be the entire region that we're doing that. Many of you have come today and they say, I hope you can take care of Cuba because you've had problems with Cuba, right? You mentioned.
President Trump, his remarks on Cuba, no rest for Marco Rubio. That's what it sounds like. And the U.S.-Iran war getting brutal. U.S. CENTCOM releasing footage of B-52 Stratofortress strikes on Iranian targets. The bombers targeted ballistic missile sites in command posts during the first hours of Operation Epic Fury. Some of the video that we're seeing coming out of Iran, the B-52, one of the most dangerous weapons in the United States arsenal. The United States putting out this video, Department of War, clearly a warning to the Iranians. Operation Epic Fury is in full effect. All this is happening as we are reporting. Here's Lindsey Graham this morning on Fox.
I'm not looking. Never seen anybody like it. This is Ronald Reagan plus. Donald Trump is resetting the world in a way nobody could have dreamed of a year ago. He is the greatest commander-in-chief of all time. Our military is the best of all time. Iran is going down, and Cuba is next.
All right. Well, we'll be watching what's next on Cuba. For sure, got a lot of hats there. The president.
Cuba is next. Of course, Lindsey Graham never walked away from a war. Ready to send your kids there. He's quite excited. But Trump's confident predictions about regime collapse are already translating into concrete policy through his team. Take a look at this. For the second consecutive night, Cubans took to the streets in Havana and other parts of the island to protest the ongoing crisis amid massive blackouts that have left millions without power for days, triggered by the collapse of the national electrical system. Now, I will remind you, the reason we're seeing the collapse of the electrical system is a direct result of Venezuela. Venezuela was their oil pipeline, their energy pipeline, and once President Trump cut that off and blocked any oil going to Cuba, it triggered this effect. So this is the collateral damage that is because of Venezuela. So Cuba will fall because Trump took decisive action in Venezuela without ever firing a shot in Cuba, and the Cuban people now taking to the streets. Some of the video. So not only are we witnessing the fall of Iran, and the fall of Venezuela, we're watching the fall of Cuba. President Trump says Cuba is an easy one to solve. Some in Congress are pushing for more aggressive military options as these protests start to spread across Cuba. Here it is, President Trump.
but he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis.
Cuba is running on fumes right now. And here's what the establishment will never tell you. For 60 plus years, every president, Republican and Democrat, talked about Cuba but did nothing meaningful. The Castros laughed while American politicians gave speeches, but Donald Trump doesn't give speeches. He gets results. He's dismantling the Iranian regime. He's bringing peace through strength. And now with Cuba's communist government literally running out of power, both electrical and political, President Trump sees the opening. He calls it an easy one. You see, that's not arrogance, folks. That's a man who understands what leverage is. The Cuban people are crying out for freedom, writing his name on their walls, and the regime knows their time is up. This is Reagan-level history unfolding before our very eyes. Now, let me be crystal clear about what we are witnessing. President Trump is doing what no other president has ever accomplished, systematically dismantling the world's most dangerous regimes without firing a shot. And if you want to fire a shot, you text raw feed to 844-840-4963. Get on our exclusive insiders list. You won't miss a notification. You won't miss when we drop something that you need to hear. There's no algorithm that's going to suppress the message I'm going to send directly from me to you. No more hanky-panky from these social media companies that are trying to determine what you see and what you know. I set this up just for you. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. Remember, Cuba's next, and you need to know exactly when it's going to happen. And those people that are suffering under communist tyranny, they're not calling out for the United Nations or the European Union. They're calling for Donald Trump. And that's why you should be calling for me. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. This is American leadership. This is peace through strength. This is what happens when you put America first. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you believe that we will see a free Cuba before the end of Trump's term? Drop your answer below. Let's get the conversation going. Make sure you are subscribed as well to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a single update on this developing story. Make sure also check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Show your support. I'm Gary Franchi. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.